Good morning, St. Charles, second grade. Today we're starting our whole new unit, Living and Working Together, Community. So, we're going to have different kinds of stories based around people living in communities. Communities are groups of people who work together. Communities are groups of people who have common goals, common causes. Pryor is a community. St. Charles Mission School is a community. So we are all working together to try to, with the goal of making you and your siblings and your classmates smarter. So today we are going to look at the book Armando and the Blue Tarp School. And this is by Edith Hope Fine and Judith Pinkerton Josephson, and it's illustrated by Hernan Sosa. So we're going to go ahead and look at this. All day, Armando and Papa worked at the dump, picking through the trash. Now they trudged down the rocky hillside. Afternoon sunlight shone on broken glass, rickety fences, and tumble-down houses in their colonia, their neighborhood. Ba-beep, ba-beep. A truck horn sounded from below. Armando pointed. Mira, look, Papa. It is Senor David, home from last summer. Papa was silent for a moment. Then he said, "You can go. Just this once." Armando hurried down the gravelly path to tell his friend Isabella of the news. Off they ran, down the dirt road, across the wobbly plank, past the big rock. "Senor David, you're back," said Armando. "My friends, mis amigos, I have missed you," said Senor David, spreading a big tarp on the ground. "Your school," Armando said, "I remember." The first time Senor David called his blue tarp a school, Armando didn't understand. He thought schools had walls, doors, and roofs. But Senor David said school could be anywhere, even on a tarp in a colonia, even on the YouTube channel. "Ready to learn more?" asked Senor David. "See," the children shouted. "Yes!" Nearby, scrawny chickens pecked at the dirt. "Hen," said Senor David. He flapped his arms. "Bark, bark, bark." La gallina." "Hen," said the children. They flapped their arms too. "Bark, bark, bark." On his chalkboard, Senor David wrote down the letters of the alphabet. The children called out the letters in Spanish and English. Then practiced words they had learned last year. House, la casa. Boy, el muchacho. Girl, la muchacha. "Very good. Muy bien," said Senor David. "We'll work hard this summer, but we'll have fun too." Armando couldn't wait. That night, Armando ate slowly. At last he asked if he could go to school on Senor David's blue tarp. Papa frowned. "Do not fill your head with dreams of school." "I went last year," said Armando. "You're older now," said Papa. "I wish things could be different, but we're prepenadores, trash pickers. You must do the work of our family." Mama added, "Your sisters are small. I need to stay here with them. The money you and Papa earn helps us live." Tears stung Armando's eyes. More than anything, he wanted to learn. But he knew that Papa and Mama were right. Later, Armando sat on his thin mattress with a stubby pencil. He sketched a picture of Senor David's truck. I hope that you want to learn as much as Armando does. As Papa and Armando neared the dump the next morning, the foul smell grew stronger and stronger. Rumbling trash trucks backed up. Eep, eep, eep. Out tumbled heaps of garbage. Workers rushed forward to tear at boxes and rip open plastic bags. Flocks of squawking seagulls circled and dove, fighting over bits of rotting food. Armando reached for the bottles and cans, clothes and toys, some to sell, some to use. In one tattered bag, he found shiny buttons and a silvery thread. From another, he pulled a smudged notebook and a dented tin of paints. These he kept. Armando mopped his sweaty face and swatted at buzzing flies. What was Senor David doing now, he wondered. By the time Armando and Papa headed for home, the sun had slipped low, painting the sky red. Hearing the gate squeak, Isabella raced over to share what she had learned at school. Words covered her paper. "La rana is frog," she said. We hopped with Senor David. We said, "Graw, graw," and "Ribbit, ribbit." Armando's shoulders drooped. "I wish I could go with you." "I know," said Isabella. "I'll bring you new words. I promise." After Isabella left, Armando copied her words into his notebook. He then made a picture of each one. Before he went to sleep, he put the notebook and the paints with the other treasures on the ledge above his bed. Every day Armando worked at the dump, and every day he longed to be sitting on the blue tarp. One evening, Papa said, "People are talking about Senor David's school." Armando's stomach flip-flopped. "We've always been papenadores," Papa went on. "But learning is important. It could help us find different work when you grow up. Maybe in the city. So Mama and I decided you may leave the dump early for school." "But the money," said Armando. "Somehow we will manage." "Gracias, Papa. Thank you." Armando hurried outside to tell Isabella. They whooped with joy. From then on, Armando worked mornings with Papa. Each afternoon, Armando and Isabella walked down the dirt road, across the wobbly plank, past the big rock, to Senor David's school. Sometimes lessons were easy. Sometimes they were hard. But soon, the children could write sentences and do numbers. They sang songs, played games, and drew pictures. Below a drawing of red flowers, Armando wrote, "Las rosas huelen bien." The roses smell nice. By a girl jumping rope, he wrote, "Isabella salta." Isabella jumps. One day, a cow lumbered by. "Hola, vaca," said Armando. "Moo, moo." "Hello, cow," said Senor David. "Moo, moo." "Cows give milk, la leche." "Cows give milk," echoed the children. Another day, Armando sketched a fat pig snuffling through garbage. Great pig. Tremendo cerdo, said Senor David. Then Armando showed him a painting that he had done of a tall man with brown hair and a mustache. On it he had written, Mi amigo, my friend. Is that me? asked Senor David. Si, said Armando. Gracias, mi amigo, said Senor David. He shook Armando's hand. Week after week, Armando wrote, drew, and painted. Soon, words, sentences, and bright pictures filled his notebook. One night, the smell of smoke jolted Armando awake. Winds howled, wood crackled. Fuego! Fuego! People shouted. Fire! Fire! Mama and Papa gathered the children and ran from the house. Flames roared through the colonia. Papa rushed to help. Men slapped at the fire with wet blankets. They threw buckets of water. Safe on the hillside, Mama hugged the children close. Heart-thudding, Armando watched a wall of greedy flames swallowed up his house. At dawn, the hot ashes smoldered. Many houses burned. Armando stared at the patch of ground where his family's home had stood. Nothing was left. Senor David put his hand on Armando's shoulder. Your words and drawings? Todo está perdido, said Armando in a small, sad voice. All gone. I'm sorry. Lo siento, said Senor David. Two days later, the scent of smoke still hung in the air. Senor David and the children gathered on his blue tarp. What a hard time for you, mis amigos, he said. No lessons today. Let's just draw. Armando colored orange and red flames, black smoke, and frightened faces. As the children worked, a car drove up. Please welcome our visitors, Senor David said. They're writing a story about the fire and our school for the city newspaper. The photographer snapped pictures. The reporter scribbled notes. Then she spotted Armandos Drawing and asked to borrow it. Armando wondered why. He glanced at Senor David. Go ahead, Armando. It's okay. The next day, Senor David held up a newspaper. Look, mira, he said. Armando's eyes grew wide. On the front page was his drawing of the fiery night, his picture for everyone to see. The children cheered. Armando grinned. Senor David gave him a copy of the paper to show Mama and Papa. Later that week came another surprise. When a kind woman in the city saw Armando's painting and read the story, she sent money to build a school. Where? asked Armando. Right where our blue tarp school had been, said Senor David. Armando closed his eyes, imagining how the school would look. Over the next week, Senor David and Papa built a new house for Armando's family. From fence boards, chicken wire, old garage doors, they helped other families rebuild too. Whenever people could, they worked on the school. They mixed cement and smoothed out a floor. They sawed wood and pounded nails to build 4 walls and a sturdy roof. Light poured in where the windows would go. At last the school was finished. The children crowded inside, chattering and pointing. They darted from benches and tables to books with colorful pictures. Isabella ran her fingers over the braided blue rug. "It's like our blue tarp," she said. Then Armando spotted a wooden easel splattered with paint. "Your papa bought that," said Senor David. Armando's eyes sparkled. Papa wanted him here, learning and painting? Ever since the first beep of Senor David's truck horn, Armando had longed for such a place. A place to learn, a place to grow, a place for friends. Armando flung his arms wide. Words tumbled out. "I'm happy from here to the sky." Then we have the author's note. Although this story is fiction, it is based on fact. Senor David is David Lynch, a former special education teacher from New York. He first went to Mexico over the summer of 1980 to teach children living in a colonia of the Tijuana city dump. He returned for 2 more summers, working with youngsters who lived in the shadow of mounds of trash, convinced that education held the key to these children's futures. Lynch made a decision. He would stay. There is a magnetic attraction to the people, and that brought me back, said Lynch. Armando is a composite of children he met at the colonia. Like them, he works alongside his father at the dump. He sees beauty in the simplest of things. Even though his surroundings are bleak, neighborhoods like this surround dumps in big cities all around the world. David Lynch's first school was a blue tarp spread on a patch of bare ground. The children's eagerness to learn amazed me, Lynch notes. Their attention never wavered, despite the constant parade of pigs, dogs, ducks, and chickens passing through the outdoor classroom. Over time, Lynch created a school curriculum that included kindergarten, Mexican culture, and English as a second language. So he worked really hard to make a school for this community. And it was funded by donations, just like St. Charles. St. Charles, we have very generous people who want to make it possible for you to learn. And we will continue to do that as soon as it is safe for us to gather. But I want you to remember that we're still a community. We are still a group of people working together to get smarter. So, I'll still be reading books and I'll still be asking questions. And today, I want to ask the question, what do you think is special about the St. Charles community? Write something in your notebook about what is special about St. Charles Mission School. And make sure that you stay safe. Make sure that you stay healthy. But also make sure that you get some sunshine and exercise too, okay? And I will see you tomorrow with our next book.